Hello everybody. I hope you've seen God's blessing today because every day, every single morning, He blesses us whenever we wake up. What I want to talk about today is for those who are called to a very specific sort of mission. Not even to a very specific mission. This could be for literally everyone. For the general person who has a job, who doesn't have a particular or doesn't feel like a particular specific calling by God. Know that everyone has a calling and everyone is unique. Everyone is called to live out their holiness in their specific lives. And such the mercy and the greatness of God that He created us, each and every one of us, as unique beings. And in that uniqueness, we get to live out a holiness that is unique to us. Now, you need to differentiate that with a sinful nature, because God created us with human nature that is to His likeness and image. But we have corrupted that nature. The devil, the world, and the flesh has given us a fallen human nature that looks like the nature that He gave us, but isn't. So we have, both natures are unique for ourselves, for each one of us. But we need to differentiate what is just a unique characteristic versus what is sin or what leads to sin. You need to do that because our uniqueness will determine whether or not we are saved, whether or not we go to hell or to heaven, or whether or not we follow God's will here on earth. Because God has set us up with our specific uniqueness to follow His specific will for us. And it doesn't have to be this sort of unicorn style, I'm special, I'm different than everyone else. We already know that. Everyone is unique, so that makes us sort of all the same in that sense. But even if you have a mundane everyday life, and I'm not going to assume that you hate it or love it, I'm just going to assume that you have a mundane everyday life. Even in that, even in going to the office, commuting, going out of the office, commuting again, going home, doing the same thing over and over, even in that you can serve God. Because in the little things, God sees you. You may have a very sort of private job. For example, maybe you're in an office or you work from home. No one can see you in your work. I'm just assuming. If no one sees you in your work, you have a tendency, I know this because this is me also. We have a tendency to sort of half-ass our work, not do such a great job. We do that because no one else sees. As long as it's, passable, it's good enough. But God sees us. And realizing that God sees us, putting ourselves always in the presence of God all the time, we can work for Him. We can move our heart posture into being, into a disposition that says or that is, God, no one can see me doing this, but I know You do, and I will do this extra thing for You. I will make this extra good for You, not for anyone else, because I know what passable is, but I'm going to do this extra step. I'm going to take this extra step for You. And that makes the everyday actions of our lives dedicated to Him. This is what Saint Therese of Lisieux talked about when she talked about the little way. That's the little way. It's simple. It's like an elevator. Saint Therese of Lisieux gave this example. Salvation is like an elevator. We just have to get in. We have to participate in it. And it doesn't take some special grand act to participate in our own salvation. We just have to say yes to God, dedicate our whole lives and every single second, every single action to Him, which is hard. It's not easy at all, trust me. But in doing that, we get to live out God's will in our lives. We get to respond to His calling. We get to bring in other people to Him. But that starts with us taking stock of differentiating or realizing first that we are unique and we have a unique call, each and every one of us, from God. But we have to differentiate which uniqueness is sin and which uniqueness is just ours, is our humanity, is our true humanity. in the image and likeness of God. One great example here is scrolling versus seeking. When I'm on social media, a lot of the times I can use, whenever I put myself in a sort of disposition and asking God, give me whatever messages you want me to receive, and I will take it back. And He shows me things through social media, through specific posts that I know are specifically for me, not just any post. But even then, I take it back to God and I give it back to Him and say, if this is from you, please confirm it with me and everything. Now, when I go down social media with that kind of heart posture, with that kind of disposition, I am seeking. I am asking Him what He wants, what His will is. And no, of course, you have to read your Bible. I read the daily readings of the Missal of the Catholic Church. But besides that, you can ask Him to give you messages that only you would understand, because that's what He would know. He knows that you receive messages and you understand things a very specific way that is unique to you. So when you ask Him that, He can give you messages that only you would understand. Now, even if you think that you're receiving messages that only you would understand, that only you would understand, take it back to Him. Seek for confirmation. Now, I receive messages through social media, through posts, through certain things, and I take it back to Him. And when I receive these messages, I know that they're for me because they're very uniquely tailored to how I think, to the specific mood I'm in, to the messages that God has been giving me all throughout my life. But I never would have known that if I didn't take stock and then I didn't look inwards and try to find out what the difference is. Now, that's seeking. Scrolling is the tendency for the devil to use my sort of natural curiosity, natural desire for wanting to know God's will through social media. The devil can use that, or he does in my life. The devil uses that to enter sin, to suggest certain images, to rile up my anger, to basically make me fall into sin and cast temptation. That's why you have to be very careful between your human nature uniqueness versus the uniqueness that our fallen human nature brings. And ask God and pray to Him to give you the grace to know the difference, so that we can fully live within His will, because that's what He wants, and that's where we will find true fulfillment. But that's it for me today. If you like videos like that, I suggest you watch my other videos, or maybe even subscribe if you like this type of content. It really helps bring it to other people who might need it. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.